and you don't always need the new shiny thing. Welcome back to my little corner of the internet. Today I'm going to be taking you down a list of things that I've personally found that are essential to your kitchen, such as appliances, different kitchen tools, and pantry items that you absolutely need. If you're thinking about starting a homemaking journey or a homesteading journey, I have 3 different sections for you guys, so let's get right into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about is anything food. There's a couple of different categories that I look in when I want my pantry to be very stocked up. When it comes to saving money in the specific area, I always try to buy whatever is seasonal. So for example, if it's the summertime, I take advantage of that and I buy a lot of fruit and I stock up on that. But during the winter, something like potatoes might be something that I try to stock up more because of the season change. The next one is going to be whole grains. Anything that is starchy, anything that you can combine very easily with different foods. For example, rice or oats or quinoa. I know not everybody's a big fan of quinoa, but it's definitely an alternative if you're trying to keep your pantry stocked up. Something else that I really like to do is try to find different protein sources because meat is expensive. One of the things that I like to do is stock up my pantry with things like beans and lentils. I'll try to buy items that my family really enjoys eating. So that will usually be black beans, pinto beans, red beans. There are so many varieties of different beans that you can buy, and the same thing goes with lentils. If you've never had lentils before, I highly recommend that you try them because they are definitely a cheap alternative to beans. They're cheaper than beans, but they pair really well with any type of beef. Also taste just delicious on their own, and they're a great source of protein. The next one is going to be herbs and spices are one of those things that boom during the summer. So if you're able to stock up on those items during the summer, it's definitely going to be less of a financial burden down the line. So definitely make it a goal this year to grow your own herbs and spices. Because if you plant a huge variety and then you cultivate them, you can always dehydrate them either in your oven or buy a dehydrator and have yourself stocked up for the year. There's people who literally do this with garlic, and they'll literally grow a whole year's supplies of garlic, which is absolutely genius. Now, I always like to throw in a free little resource for you guys. This video is not sponsored by this company, but I recently discovered it and I think it can help a lot of us, especially those people who live in areas that don't have bulk stores. So let me introduce you to the OuterStandard.com. The Outer Standard is this company that sells organic or mostly organic items on their website. They do things like flour, oats, sugar, sea salt, anything that you could possibly imagine, you can find it on this website, and they do it in large quantities or small quantities. The whole point to this website is for you to buy in bulk. Buying in bulk can literally save you hundreds of dollars. I have seen things on this website that are cheaper being organic than they are being regular in the stores. The only cons to this website that I have found so far is one, you have to make sure that you know what you're buying and make sure that you're ordering enough to get you through maybe 1 or 2 months. The reason being is that this service will usually do drop-off locations and drop-off dates. It's not like a set date that they have a drop-off available. And then the second downside to it is that they do charge a delivery fee. But even after the delivery fee is estimated, I still think it's a really great price, especially for the products that you're getting. The next section that we're going to be talking about is going to be our kitchen appliances. I know for a lot of us, we get stuck in this over-consuming cycle. When I see a new gadget, I want to get it instantly, but having to buy a new gadget every other month can get expensive. There's really no need to it. I've compiled a list of appliances that I think are super necessary in a kitchen so that you don't have to. Number 1, a slow cooker or an Instapot or a crock pot. I know these appliances are different in their own ways, but if you're able to get your hands on either of them, they are literally a lifesaver. You can make soups in them, you can make stews in them, you can make yogurt. And if you have an Instant Pot like I do, there's a section where it says steam, and I actually use that to do something that I like to call chaotic canning, which helps me preserve my food just a little bit longer. I will say that these appliances do have a learning curve to them, but it's definitely worth investing your money in them. The next one is going to be a really good blender. Your blenders can be used to do stuff like smoothies. It could be used to pulverize. It could be used for soups and sauces. Having a good blender has literally changed my life. I personally like the blender from Princess House. I know my Hispanic girlies will get me and they will understand. Not to toot their horn or anything, but I genuinely think that it is a blender that is definitely worth the investment. Never had any issues with them. They also have a guarantee customer support base, which is amazing. Another important thing to have in your kitchen is going to be an oven or a toaster oven. If you only have a stovetop, I highly recommend for you to invest into a toaster oven, because it's going to make your prepping a lot easier. You can do things like baking, dehydrating, proof, a lot of different things that you can obviously do with an oven. I use my oven very often, but the number one thing I will say is that make sure that all of your appliances have like a dual value to them. That basically means that there's multiple ways that you can use that appliance. The next section that I want to talk about is going to be kitchen tools. These are going to be your things like your pots, your pans, your knives, your measuring cups, things like that. Talking about things that are just cooking, these are going to be my recommendations. First off, you're going to want to switch all of your ceramic and non-stick pans for things such as cast iron and stainless steel. This is something that I recently have started doing just because I feel like I have more value in the stainless steel and the cast irons than the ceramics or the non-stick. I personally have an attachment to my non-stick pans because they were a gift that my dad gave me, but moving forward I'm definitely going to be more mindful about the pots and pans that I bring in, because these studies nowadays with the relation between non-stick and cancer, and the best way to avoid them is literally going to be just going back to the old school way of cooking, which is usually cast iron and stainless steel. My next kitchen tool that I think is super important to have, these bad boys back here. Knives are so important in your kitchen, and you don't realize that until you cook very frequently. If you're just starting out and you're new to homemaking and stuff, I highly recommend for you to get a very nice set of chef knives, because they are going to last you a super long time and the quality on them is just so much better. This is the brand Cutlux. They were kind enough to send me one of their knives. I had been debating whether or not I wanted to share this, because I always want to make sure that I'm sharing things with you guys that are one, useful, and two, that I personally use and recommend. I had this hidden away for a couple of weeks now and I want to talk about it. This is what the knife looks like. All of their knives are made with German steel, and they all have these very beautiful handles, which I absolutely love. This company has a huge variety of different knives. I'll insert some clips here so that you guys can see how they cut, but the first time that I used this, I was actually really surprised. The next one is definitely one of my favorites, and it is a good quality cutting board. Now, there's this whole debate of what kind of cutting board you should be using, as studies have recently shown that plastic cutting boards create microplastics, which get into your food and mess up your hormones. Also come out with studies saying that wooden boards are not good for you at all because they build up mold. And sometimes there's like this huge stigma around steel cutting boards. They're definitely way better to use than the first two options, but I'm going to introduce something that I found. This is my stone cutting board and I absolutely love it. I've never had any issues with my cutting board. It's definitely going to be something that are going to start trending in the next couple of years. You really only need one of these cutting boards because they will last a lifetime. You can find some of these things at your local thrift stores. I personally, almost everything that I have in my house has been secondhand and thrifted. But at the end of the day, I want you to also remember to make the most of what you have. Because again, you don't always need the new shiny thing. This video gave you a little bit of insight how to start your homemaking journey, kitchen appliances you need, what kitchen tools you need that are definitely worth the investment, should hold priority in your homemaking or homesteading journey.